We set things up in 2010 to support a primary school in a very deprived part of Kenya, just outside Nairobi. Since then, we've grown kind of far beyond what our original aims were. We're very proud of that, and we hope that you are as well. And thank you for your support in getting us this far. While we've grown, we've always tried to maintain a personal relationship with the projects in Kenya. For that reason, at least one of our trustees has been out to Kenya each year, and to see the projects, to see what's going well, to see what's working, to see what we could do better. I'm delighted to be going back there this year in June. I've not been since 2011, so I've not really seen a lot of what we've done in person. I've read all about it, seen lots of photos and videos, but I'm really looking forward to seeing it in person for myself. Our mission statement, Kipawa is working to ensure that every child in Ruiru, which is the town where our primary school Mukuyu is based, is reaching his or her full potential through targeted community access to good quality education, nutrition and healthcare. So, you know, the main reason and the first thing that we tried to do was to set up a feeding programme, because the main reason kids aren't going to school is because they don't have any food, they're not being fed by their families who don't have any money, so they go out to work, or they look after younger siblings so that their parents go out to work. So if you provide food at school, then a lot more kids come to school, and that was the sort of defining thing that we set up on, and that's still probably our bread and butter, if you will, excuse the pun. Yeah, so we're now providing food to about 700 children at the school. They all receive porridge every morning, and then the most vulnerable ones identified also receive lunch, which is about half of the pupils at the school. Another reason children miss school is due to poor health, and one simple thing that we've funded at Mukuyu is the provision of deworming medication. So I'll just quickly read out a quote from another study into deworming in Kenya, because it's very relevant to what I'm trying to get across. Researchers that evaluated a mass school-based deworming program in Western Kenya and found that deworming substantially improved health and school participation of treated children, as well as untreated children in both treatment schools and neighbouring schools. The program reduced school absenteeism by more than 1/4 and was far cheaper than alternative ways of boosting school participation. So yeah, it's a simple way to improve the health of the children and ensure that they're attending school a lot more often and more regularly, because they don't have stomach upsets and all the other kind of illnesses. Linked to that is also provision of adequate toilet facilities, which is another thing that we did at Mukuyu Primary School, was to improve the sanitation and the conditions so that children will be healthier. And another huge thing that affects the health of the children is their diet. A lot of the cheapest food available is to poor families in Kenya will be high in calories but low in nutritional value. The meals that we provide through the feeding programme provide about 60% of the recommended kind of daily vitamins and nutrition, so it's also about the quality of the food. Many schools either have no nursery class or inadequate provision, which can be another barrier to starting primary school, because the children are supposed to complete a year of preschool before they're eligible to start primary 1. So the nursery class at Mukuyu Primary at our school was very run down. There was one teacher and it was hugely oversubscribed. So we began by funding a second nursery teacher post, and we continued to fund that position. We renovated the classroom, provided furniture and learning materials, and the number of pupils in the preschool nursery classes doubled. There's about 53 now, I think. And you saw they were enjoying themselves in that classroom there, which has been fantastic to see, and it's great to get more kids in at an earlier stage to begin their education, to begin benefiting from the feeding programme, and these things can make a huge difference if they come in slightly earlier than primary school. We've also renovated a room for the counsellors and the social workers to use, so that they have a private, secure and welcoming environment when they're working with the children who need the most support. Karen, who's still on the screen at the moment, she's one of the counsellors who uses that facility. It was difficult to make out what she was saying, but she was talking about her role as a counsellor, mainly working with the children at the school, but also sometimes with the parents. They provide parenting seminars and other information to help children and families that have serious issues at home. No different to a lot of the issues that troubled families can have here at home. But, Margaret, who was a social worker, she was with another woman, Caroline, who benefits from our family empowerment programme. This is a programme to assist families by providing some sort of grant so that they can start up a small business, as well as financial support. There's various other seminars and information to educate somebody on how to run a small business. The case here was Caroline was selling charcoal, and the profit she was making from that was allowing her to feed her children and send them to school. You might have heard Margaret say that it cost 5,000 to set that business up. This is 5,000 Kenyan shillings, which is £35. So, a small amount of money in this country can do a huge amount over there, because there's no way that a person in Caroline's situation would be able to come up with that kind of money off the bat. One thing we've been able to do is to sponsor a number of pupils in that situation to attend secondary school, which isn't free and isn't government provided like primary school is. So we now have 19 students like Breton who are in various stages of their secondary school education, and we look forward to hearing from them and how they're doing each year. 2015 was our 5-year anniversary. To think what the kids like Breton and some of the other ones, the older ones at secondary school, were in 2010. They were at a pretty rundown primary school, and while they were all smart, hard-working kids, at that stage they must have thought that the chances of them finishing primary school and going on to complete their secondary education were probably pretty slim. So it's fantastic that some of them are now on the brink of doing that and actually graduating from secondary school as well. And I'm looking forward to meeting some of those kids in June.
What we've got here in the annual report, you'll see a summary of the financial activities for the year. Good news is that over the years, the income has consistently been going up and up for the Trust. Total income this year was just over £44,000. Now, about 45% of that came from regular donations. So, as Kieran was saying, everybody who makes a regular monthly or annual donation, that's providing us with just over £20,000 worth of income, and we're very grateful for all that support. Kieran showed you some slides of some of the other fundraising activities that have been going on, a lot of different fundraising activities going on, and this year over £23,000 was actually raised from all those various different fundraising activities. We've been very blessed by having all these regular donors and a good number of fundraisers, but the trustees were also conscious that that might dip one year, and there's a lot of things we want to do in Kenya. Might not always have the funds to hand, so we've put some funds aside in a reserve account, and are now actually getting some interest on that money. And the one really good thing that I'm very proud about in this charity is that almost, in fact, all the funds that are raised are really spent on projects to help the young people. So there's nobody claiming expenses, there's no costs for travel or other things like that. So all the costs, and the main transfer that we make each year, you've seen all the work that's been going on in Kenya, and the grants and donations relating to charitable activities, that was for over £42,000 was sent to actually develop and support that work this year. I'll save that one for Kieran. If you've got the statement of balances, you'll see that we started off the year with just over £30,000 in the bank. You've heard how much income we've raised, how much we've sent out to support the project, and that at the year end that gave us a balance of £28,535. So I say over the years the Trust has been doing very well. The actual income that's been generated has been going up.
And up until now, our efforts have been deliberately focused on one school, the Kuyu Primary School, and the community around that school, the parents and the rest of the community around that school. So we're going to keep that up this year. We're not letting our focus on that school slip. We're continuing to fund all the key things there, which are the health programmes, the feeding programmes, the secondary school sponsorship, the family empowerment, social work support. All of that will keep going. But thanks to our really generous support for our Christmas appeal this year, we're delighted to be able to do even more at Makuyu. So we're starting up this year what's called a Kickstarter class. And the idea is that there are children who, for a variety of different reasons, have dropped out of school, haven't finished their primary education, or in many cases haven't ever started school. And they, of course, variety of ages, variety of different problems that they're facing. And we find it very difficult to get back into some of these very big classes. So the Kickstarter class will be much smaller, focused educational and social work support for these children. The social workers have already identified a lot of the children in the community who will benefit from this, and they're coming into, they're going to come into small classes, they're going to get really focused help and social work help to do that. As Bill mentioned, our income has steadily risen over these last 5 years, so we've decided now is the time to get a bit more ambitious. And we've identified a second school that we're going to start working with from this year. Auckland's primary school, as you can see up here, is also in Riuru. There's some pictures of it in the annual reports. Alistair, who's our absent Kuwaiti-based trustee, visited last year and went to see Auckland's and found it in a very similar state to Makuyu had been when we started working with them. The toilets in the classrooms are particularly run down, unhygienic, unpleasant. Many of the children who've discovered don't bring any lunch to school, so don't eat all day. It's a slightly different community from in Makuyu. It's based near a coffee plantation, so there's lots of challenges faced by the families there about the seasonal and unstable nature of that work, so that brings other challenges. We're really pleased that from now we're starting to serve around 400 children with porridge every day, which is a great start, while the social workers that we already fund in Makuyu and the outreach workers there get a better feel for the school and its ongoing needs. So hopefully we'll be able to build up a relationship with them in the way that we have in Makuyu. So if you can be an advocate for us and explain what we're trying to achieve, even just sharing Facebook posts or retweeting tweets, any of that stuff just to keep our message out there can be really, really helpful and really supportive. Regular donations are vital because they allow us to make commitments in Kenya. We can make commitments to schools that we are going to be there for a while. We're going to be there for a time. We're seeing this through in the long run, and they can plan, we can plan, and that's great. Even a couple of pounds a month really makes a difference, as Kit was saying, how small amounts can be really put to great use. I visited Makuyu and Riuru 2014 it was, and I was really impressed by how nothing is wasted, really nothing is wasted. When they grind the maize for the meal that they use at lunchtime, they sell the husks back to people for animal feed. They sell the empty cooking oil drums just to get money back into the programme. So really, the money that you give is not wasted, and even any leftovers after lunch get sent home with the most needy children to feed their younger siblings or their families. So nothing is wasted. As was already mentioned, Kipawa has almost no admin costs. The trustees are not paid. We pay for our own travel, all the annual reports, and even the lunch that you're all so desperately keen to have, paid for from our own pockets. So thank you very much indeed for your time and attention and support.